The overture, the invisible hand. Have you ever had the strange, unsettling feeling that something in your life was wrong, but you couldn't explain what it was? As if your decisions, your emotions, your very will were not entirely your own. As if you were being guided by an invisible yet powerful force. Perhaps you have done favors you did not want to do. Perhaps you have conceded in arguments where you knew you were right, or trusted people who later revealed a completely different face. If this has ever happened to you, and I know that it has, then this video is for you. Because the brutal truth is that you are being subtly manipulated every single day. By people close to you, by the media you consume, by leaders who have mastered the art of persuasion, by those who know how to operate the secret hidden mechanisms of the human mind. And the worst part, you don't even realize it. We are not talking about hypnosis or cinematic mind control. The most effective, most insidious manipulation is the one that makes you think you are in control. The one that whispers to you that the decision was yours, that the mistake was yours, that the guilt you feel is a sign of your own failing. Most people live their entire lives this way, silently, being guided like pieces on a board game they didn't even know they were playing. And when they try to react, when they try to resist, they are met with a wall of their own conditioned emotions, guilt, fear, and self-doubt. They have been emotionally trained since childhood not to resist. And if you think this doesn't happen to you, stop right now, because that feeling of immunity, that very thought, is exactly what a good manipulator wants you to believe. In this video, I will not offer you comfort. I will give you tools of perception. Because those who master the art of manipulation, as Machiavelli understood so well, do not need to shout or to force. They simply observe. They understand your weaknesses. And then, they act. They know what drives you, and if you do not know what drives you, you will be driven. You will learn to see the game. You will recognize the patterns, the emotional tricks, the subtle games of control. You will identify your own vulnerabilities and learn how to build a psychological shield around your mind. Because true freedom is not about doing what you want, but about knowing why you want it. This video is a summons for those who are tired of being used. For those who have suffered in silence, been blamed, silenced, and conditioned. Here you will learn to step out of the role of the puppet and take on the role of the strategist. But I warn you, once you see, you will not be able to pretend you don't know anymore. Before we unmask the manipulator, a brief pause. This knowledge is a weapon, and like any weapon, it must be wielded with awareness. This channel is dedicated to that awareness. If you are ready for this level of clarity, I invite you to subscribe. Your presence here is a commitment to your own sovereignty. Let us now proceed. Chapter 1: The Theater of Manipulation. Have you ever noticed how certain people always seem to get what they want, even when they don't deserve it? They don't shout, they don't threaten, they don't beg. They persuade. They engage. They make you believe that giving in was your idea, a product of your own generosity and wisdom. This isn't charisma. It is a technique. It is manipulation in its purest and most effective form. The master manipulator does not act on impulse. They are students of human nature. They observe. They study you, your reactions, your weaknesses, your deepest emotional needs. They notice when you are hungry for approval, when you are terrified of rejection, when you feel a pang of guilt for saying no. And that is the key they use to unlock the doors of your will. Manipulation begins before the first word is ever spoken. It starts with the silent reading of your body language, the tone of your voice, the pauses between your sentences. Some use the weapon of charm. They smile, they compliment, they present themselves as different from all the others. They make you feel seen, heard, and special. But behind this carefully constructed veneer of kindness, there is a cold calculation. They are creating an emotional debt within you. Because when someone is overwhelmingly good to you, your primal social instinct pushes you to reciprocate. And that is when you start to give in, to concede, to offer, all under the illusion of a fair exchange. Others prefer the more insidious weapon of guilt. They play the victim. They speak of their struggles, their overwhelming burdens, how no one understands them, how they only have you. Gradually, they place you in a position of immense emotional responsibility. They make you their savior. And if you try to pull away, if you dare to say no, they don't need to fight you. A heavy sigh, a cutting remark disguised as disappointment, a look of profound sadness is enough. The subtle manipulator never needs to ask explicitly. They make you an offer. And then there are those who use the oldest weapon of all, fear. They do not threaten you with physical harm. They threaten you with psychological annihilation. They create catastrophic scenarios. If you do this, you will end up all alone. If you leave me, you will never find someone like me again. They don't bind you with chains, but with ideas. They make you doubt your own ability to survive, to act, to be whole without them. And so, you remain trapped, seemingly of your own volition. Chapter 2. The Case of the Loyal Employee. Let us observe this in a real-world scenario. Consider a young woman named Sarah. Sarah is a talented and hard-working employee at a small company. Her boss, a man named Mr. Thompson, is charismatic and paternal. When Sarah was hired, he told her, "I see great potential in you. This isn't just a company. We're a family here." For the first year, Sarah thrives. Mr. Thompson praises her work, gives her important projects, and makes her feel like his most valued protege. He is using charm, creating an emotional debt. Then, things begin to change. He asks her to work late, then on weekends. "The company is going through a tough time, Sarah. I'm counting on you. You're the only one I can trust." When she looks tired or hesitates, he uses guilt. "I thought you were committed to this family. I guess I was wrong." He sighs, a look of deep disappointment on his face. He isolates her from her colleagues, telling her secrets in confidence, making her feel special while subtly turning her against others. When she talks about seeking a promotion or a raise, he uses fear. "The market is very tough right now, Sarah. You're lucky to have a secure job. A lot of people would kill for this opportunity." Sarah is trapped. She is overworked, underpaid, and her loyalty has been weaponized against her. She feels guilty for wanting more, afraid of leaving, and still indebted to the man who gave her a chance. She doesn't see herself as a victim of manipulation. She sees herself as a disloyal employee who isn't grateful enough. Mr. Thompson has successfully made her believe that her prison is a privilege. He is the perfect intimate manipulator. Chapter 3. The Wounds That Make You Vulnerable. You are not manipulated because you are weak. You are manipulated because you are human, because there exists within every human being an emotional blind spot, an unresolved desire, a wound that hasn't fully healed, a silent need that acts as a gap in your psychological armor. And that is where the manipulator enters. They do not force their way in. They listen. They perceive what you may not even see in yourself, and they offer a poisoned cure. Some of us carry an insatiable thirst for approval. From an early age, we were taught to please, in order to deserve affection. We learned that love is a reward for good behavior, not an inalienable right. And so we begin to shape our attitudes, to silence our needs, to become what we think others want us to be. This need, this hole in the chest, is a direct invitation for the manipulator. They give you crumbs of validation, and in return you give them your blind loyalty. Others carry guilt as an invisible, crushing burden. They blame themselves for saying no, for prioritizing their own needs, for setting boundaries. They were taught that thinking of oneself is selfish, that self-sacrifice is the highest virtue. And so, even when they feel that something is deeply wrong, they do not react, because they believe they are being too harsh, ungrateful, or cold. The manipulator knows this guilt. They will frame their selfish requests as tests of your virtue, controlling your decisions through a distorted morality. And there are still those who carry fear, the fear of rejection, the fear of loneliness, the fear of being forgotten. Such people will cling to any connection, even a toxic one, out of a deep dread of facing the void. The manipulator offers a false sense of security and then, subtly, threatens to take it away. They make you feel that without them, you are nobody, and you believe it, because your own fear has been whispering that to you for years. These vulnerabilities do not arise from nowhere. They are the echoes of past experiences, silent traumas, and inherited emotional conditioning. But as long as you do not turn to face these wounds, they remain open. And those who approach with a smile on their lips and ulterior motives in their heart know exactly where to press. Chapter 4: The Forging of a Psychological Shield. Most people want to stop being manipulated, but few are willing to pay the price of emotional freedom, brutal, unflinching awareness. Because the truth will set you free, but first, it will hurt. And the first wound you must heal is the illusion that being a good, empathetic, and understanding person will protect you. It will not. In fact, it is these very virtues, when not balanced with strategic clarity, that make you an easy target. Developing emotional immunity is not about becoming cold or cynical. It is about becoming aware. It is about stopping the automatic reactions to the emotional triggers that manipulators use against you. Step 1. Identify your patterns. Stop and observe yourself for 1 week. Become a scientist of your own psyche. What triggers make you give in? Is it the fear of disappointing someone, the anxiety of being rejected, the desire to keep the peace at any cost? When you understand what drives you, you can begin to change the game. Step 2. Cultivate strategic detachment. You must learn to emotionally distance yourself from situations without losing your empathy. This means observing without immediately getting involved. It means hearing a compliment and accepting it graciously, without letting it lower your defenses. It means noticing when someone is guiding you through emotion, and deliberately pausing to think before you react. The manipulator relies on your emotional urgency. They need you to feel, not to think. So choose to think. Step 3. Become unpredictable. Manipulators work with predictability. They have mapped your responses. They know that if they play the victim, you will comfort them. If they praise you, you will let your guard down. If they apply pressure, you will concede. Your greatest defense lies in breaking this pattern. Surprise them. Say no when they expect a yes. Remain silent when they expect a confrontation. Disappear when they expect you to insist. This disarms their entire game and forces them to reveal their true intentions. Step 4. Master the art of the question. Instead of defending yourself, learn to ask clarifying questions. When someone says, "You always do this," a manipulator expects you to argue. Instead, ask calmly, "What specifically do I do that bothers you?" When they say, "Everyone agrees with me," ask, "Who is everyone specifically?" This shifts the burden of proof back onto them and exposes the hollowness of their claims. The synthesis, the strategist's mind. We began with the feeling of being guided by an invisible hand. We now see that this hand is not mystical. It is the calculated touch of those who understand our own psychology better than we do. But by understanding their methods, we can finally pull away. We have journeyed through the dark theater of manipulation, unmasking the methods of the charmer, the victim, and the fearmonger. We have faced the hard truth of our own vulnerabilities, our need for approval, our burden of guilt, and our fear of loneliness. And we have forged a 4-part psychological shield, identifying our patterns, practicing strategic detachment, becoming unpredictable, and mastering the art of the question. Proximity does not justify psychological violation. A shared history does not grant the right to control your future. And a position of authority, whether it is a boss, a parent, or a partner, is not a license for manipulation. To break these cycles, you must begin the difficult but necessary work of building internal authority. This authority is forged not in anger, but in clarity. It is built with firm boundaries that do not require an apology. It is demonstrated by a "no" that is a complete sentence. You must be prepared for the resistance, the accusations of being ungrateful, selfish, or cold. This is the predictable tantrum of a manipulator who has lost their control over you. Every change in your posture will destabilize those who fed on your predictability. And yes, you may lose relationships along the way. But believe this, it is liberating to lose those who only valued the role you played for them, not the person you truly are. As Machiavelli wrote, "Men are so simple and yield so readily to the desires of the moment that he who will trick will always find another who will suffer to be tricked." Today, you have been given the tools not to trick, but to never again be the one who suffers to be tricked. Make a commitment to yourself. In the comments below, write, "I am the strategist, not the piece on the board." Let this be the day your awareness becomes your armor. And do not stop here. This is the first step. To continue forging your psychological shield, you must keep learning. Subscribe to the channel, because the next video is an essential piece of this puzzle. You deserve to be free. The journey has just begun.